All right, my friends, welcome to our Know, Like, and Trust podcast series. My name is Russ Simon with Leadership Solutions, and today I'm here with Jeff Johnston. You'll see his Realty Group logo behind me here. It is J&M Realty Group, and I'm so excited to introduce him as one of my friends to my podcast friends, all my social media friends, because when it comes to real estate, we know that we need really good people on our side, and Jeff is one of those people that I can attest to from personal experience and watching him work with people. I've been watching Jeff work with people for quite a while now, and what I know is he cares about people and he builds people. And I have just seen him do phenomenal things when it comes to the world of real estate. In fact, just today, Jeff and I have been working to get together on some real estate development ideas that he's got with some other friends that I've got that do real estate development. And so the mere fact that, he was thinking about it and I was like, hey, I've got some other buddies that do this and I'm connecting them. That's what I want you to know. I know him, I like him, I trust him, and that's why I'm having my buddies do business with Jeff to be able to do that. So, Jeff, welcome. And we want to get to know you as an audience, I guess. So, I love to start out. What's something unique about you that you could share with us?
So for me, I'm a big fan of it's called best day, worst day stuff, right? So you're probably familiar if you're LDS. Um, but my life has been full of best day, worst day situations. So unique stuff for me is my first child was born, and he was born with a tetralogy of Fallot. It's a congenital heart defect. So at the time he was scheduled to live to be like 12 max, and he's almost 30. But best day, worst day, right? I know, awesome, huh? When we got married, the day that we were getting married, my not then wife, but my wife now, her grandfather, who helped raise her for about the first 3 years of her life, he was crossing the street to the wedding venue and had a heart attack and died. Right. And so, again, best day, worst day. And so, having these huge catastrophic events that took place on what's supposed to be an amazing day, and my life's been littered with them. Everything from experiences on my mission to those two experiences I shared with you. And there's a handful of others that we don't necessarily have time for. So I've got these unique experiences that have pretty much branded me into what I am and who I'm about as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a broker, as an employer. So yeah, it's been tragic, but at the same time, just forming. And so it's been an interesting road. But yeah, so I would say best day, worst day
Wow.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, man. You started heavy on me, Jeff.
I
We
know.
didn't
I'm
practice
I'm
this, I
sorry.
don't
That's a
think.
unique. Yeah,
But
yeah. That was
the-
pretty heavy, right? So,
well,
okay, let's
here's
go
what
with
I love
something.
about it. I'm going to share with you what I love about it. I think that's one of the things probably that then I just already detect about you on that integrity side of things. I've been doing some trainings recently on integrity with leadership, and integrity, I think people often think is formed under the pressure of those experiences. It seems that integrity is really exposed, right, and tested. It's like the stress test that comes. I think there can be some building there, but it seems that more than anything, it's manifested is what does that integrity look like and where is your strength, right? And what are you going to
Right.
do? Pressure is a privilege, and how we respond to that says a lot about who we are and how we operate. So yeah, knowing you, and I do know some other stuff about things that go on that are tough about life for you. It doesn't slow you down. It doesn't stop you in the ways that it could. You continue to just blow my mind and exceed expectations when it comes to living your life and operating at the highest level. So thank you for the way that blesses me, and just a congratulations, I guess, on when you have
Thank you.
best days, worst days. I see how you show up and you show up.
Thank you. That's nice. Yeah.
Well, tell us really quickly a little bit more about your family, and then I want to move into the real estate side of things.
So I was born in Utah, born in Taylorsville. Was raised here, other than 2 year mission for my church, and then met my wife. Her name's Megan. And we met in September, and then we were married in February. So it went quick, right? When we knew, we knew. And we have two boys. They're 7 years apart, not on purpose. With that gap in there, we actually took foster kids into the house for 4 or 5 years. But so we've got two boys 7 years apart. They're now 29, almost 30, and the other one's 23. And we have three grandkids, all boys, all little
Mm,
boys, and they're 6, 3.5, and just baby brand new.
man, and are they close by that you can have them over to the pool and kick around
They
with them?
they are, yeah. So everybody lives local for my little family. My youngest bought a home, oh, maybe five 5 to 10 minutes away from where we live, and my older one lives in Saratoga, and we live in Harriman. So he's about 20, 25 minutes away.
I love it. Yeah, Jeff's got a great pool. His wife Megan has created a beautiful home with an amazing yard, great pool. So I'm glad that they get to come hang out with you. That was one of my favorite things to do as a grandkid was go over to my grandparents' home. They were up in Missoula, Montana, kick around in their pool. But man, that's where I spent the summer. It was so fun. Jeff, let's get to real estate. All right. So I like you. I like what you do with real estate. I want my friends to be able to like you when it comes to that also. So first thing
Okay.
I like to do is ask someone could be, and for you especially because you've got a corporate history as well. So
Mhm.
I mean, when you were done with your corporate life side of things, what brought you to real estate? Like you could have done anything. What is it you like about real estate is the crux of the question.
Well, I got involved in real estate when I was in the corporate world side of things, just kind of inadvertently. We don't have time to go into everything, but I can share it with you later one on one. But so living in the corporate veil, and then um, was introduced to real estate, and then I was just kind of practicing it on the side, and I loved it so much, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And so I shifted gears, and I went and started doing real estate on my own. Um, I have some health concerns, and so it became necessary for me to get insurance. So I started interviewing and looking for builders, knowing that they've got benefits attached to them, and met with the builder. They said they weren't hiring at the time. We went to lunch, and they said at lunch, okay, we want to hire you. And one thing led to another. They created a requisite. I know how it works in the corporate world. They said they weren't hiring, and they're like, oh, we want you, So now they've got to create a requisition. It's got to go through all the rigmarole, and so it's going to take a minute. So it took 2 or 3 months for me to get on board. But yeah, they pulled me in, introduced me to the new home build side of things, and that just took off like gangbusters, and was pretty successful in that realm. Had a really good run with some really good friends, and just it came time to exit that area, and I just corporate life wasn't for me anymore. I just got tired. Um, just some of the decision making, some of the people I was working with and working for became difficult, and one thing led to another. My wife looked at me, she said, hey, why don't you open your own brokerage? You're a broker. And I was like, yeah, why don't I? And so it just one foot in front of the other. And all of a sudden we're talking about it. Once we talk about it, then we start doing action, and then one action led to another. And then next thing you know, here we are. And so right now I've got like 8 or 9 agents, and myself, and just a little boutique brokerage, but we're mighty. We get along really well, and we education, 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 and help. So that's what we do.
Well, you are mighty, that's for sure. And so I'll just let people know the J is for Jeff and the M is for his wife Megan. So J and M. And Jeff is the principal broker of the establishment there. And so he's the one that I've been able to have a lot of the interaction and stories with here. And one of the stories that just blows my mind every time. And then I want you to share however much or little you want to share on this, and it'll lead into the
Okay.
next question is now that we know why you like real estate, I want to find out why people like doing real estate with you. What is it that they like about that experience when there's so many other people? And I'm just going to drop this little thing. Jeff has been able to close more than one deal on just $7. So if you had $7 under whatever those conditions are, I don't know, he's done it multiple times. You could buy a home, even in this current market that we're in, August
Yes.
2026. So what is it, Jeff, that people love doing business with you? I like the $7 idea, but what else beyond $7 is it we want to go with J&M and we want to work with Jeff and his crew?
So, okay, the most important thing when it comes to this is um, I'm going to interview whoever I'm working with. And in that interview, there's very pointed questions about needs, wants, and desires. And then based on those factors, there's there's certain aspects in the business that they they're changeable, right? And so I talked about it today at BNI. Focus on the things that can be changed, that you're able to adjust and adapt. Too often, too many people are like, oh, the market's terrible. The interest rates are 6.5, 7%. Well, why are we worried about that? There's a strategy for me to help you get into a house. So, just a short social proof example. You talked about the $7. This wasn't quite $7, but it was a couple $1,000s to get into a house. And this young lady, um, she was able to shop for a home, bought a home in West Jordan, and earnest money, um, closing costs, and rate buy down cost her a total of $2,000. And she was able to get an interest rate in the fives. So I
Wow.
cannot possibly tell her, oh, you know it's a bad market, right? How am I going to tell her that? She got concessions, she got closing costs paid for, and she got enough concessions to buy down the rate. And so we were able to address everything and got her more than she wanted. And we also did a price decrease on the offer that we submitted. And so she was able to get, and she's not competing against everybody else because it's a bad market. So nobody's shopping. So she's out there shopping almost by herself, right? Because everybody else is waiting for the interest rates to come down into the high twos, low threes. That's not going to be a thing. And so we controlled the controllables. There's some things that were not controllable, like the interest rate. We can't control that. But what we could control is in negotiations, how much she was able to get in concessions to help offset the interest rate and cover her closing costs. So therefore, we're able to get her hooked up and taken care of, and she's thrilled to pieces. So and that happened about 3 or 4 months ago. So she I couldn't possibly tell her, oh, by the way, what we'll say her name's Amy. By the way, Amy, now's a bad time to buy a house. No way. There's no way she could say, oh yeah, you're right. No, she got everything she wanted and more.
Wow. Well, and I've seen you do that with our friends. So seeing as how you were careful with names, I was gonna drop names, but maybe I shouldn't drop names
I
to
just
say,
don't know how they feel
yeah.
about having their name dropped,
Yeah.
right? Like, because
Well,
I
here's
haven't
what I'll
checked
share
with my
then.
client and
Yeah.
oh, hey, by the way, you were named on a podcast. So
I'm dropping you. That's where I'm like, maybe I get a little more leeway since they're my friends too, and they're
fair,
not my clients. But
fair,
I
yeah,
can say this. One of our friends recently bought a home with Jeff and his group through them and had some really uh, specific things that they were looking for. Even
very
with
niche.
ADU and things like that. Yeah,
Yes.
so some like it needed to be really specific what they were going for. And Jeff just worked his tail off to be able to get exactly what they wanted. And they have not been able to just stop singing his praises. That was not the first time. There's another friend who just prior to that was selling, going through some life changes and selling and finding a new home.
Mhm.
And Jeff found the perfect spot, right, for the new home and what that new home would be. And so I've watched Jeff with my own friends be able to help them through these transitions and moves to be able to find exactly what they're looking for even when it's been pretty specific and would be considered difficult, I think, under a lot of circumstances. And that's kind of the way that they've described it at times is he took what was difficult and made it happen, which is really
Yeah.
cool to be able to see. And
When it
then
comes to moving, I like to think, like we talked about best day, worst day. Moving has a tendency to be just that, best day, worst day, because you're leaving behind some things that you loved for whatever reasons. Moving usually carries some sort of life-changing event with it, right? It often comes hand in hand with like marriage, divorce, death, new job, leaving a job. So all those things. So best day, worst day, all the time. So I like to think I've got a little empathy and a little sympathy for people that are experiencing that through my own life experiences.
that's true. And you are really great. I'm glad you started off talking about the controllables. Let's control the controllables because it's not just something that you preach, it's something that I've seen you live, again, personally and professionally. And so I think that's why you're able to preach that message and it rings true is
Yeah.
because it's your walk speaks so loud. You know, it's not just the talk, it's your walk that's speaking so
Right.
loud on that one. Well, in this next part, what I love to do is so we've gotten to know you a little bit. We know why you like real estate and why I like you in real estate and my friends like you in real estate. We want to build some trust now with the audience as well. And that's one of the things that I have with you is I've seen you work with others. And this is a segment where I usually ask people to just share either a resource, some wisdom, something that you can leave with the audience so that whether or not they ever do business with you or another realtor, it would just bless and benefit their lives when it comes to the industry. And so I don't forget, I'll lead off with this one. Jeff and his partner Nate on the financing side of things with loans, they do a monthly webinar that I have sent my adult married kids to to be able to get educated. And you can speak to that as well. How much, if you're going to invest, of course, we want professionals like you and Nate to help us out. What we don't want to do is just go into it blindly and be like, well, Jeff and Nate know what they're doing. You know, I should know what I'm doing as well, along with that trust in your professional capabilities. So there is a monthly webinar. We will drop the date and time for that in either the show notes or the comments so that anyone here has got that.
Yes.
But you can also follow Jeff on social media. We'll get you his contact info here in just a second as well. But Jeff, what's on your mind when you think, here's some good value add I can leave with the audience to help build that trust and also leave them better than you found them?
I think more than ever, don't lean into social media so much for, I'll give you a great example. Um, you spoke of Nate, and so I've affiliated myself with Nate Johnson. He's with Guild Mortgage, and if I were to ask on social media, how many loan programs are there available for you to use? The answer is probably going to be four or five, right? The true answer, Nate has over 700 loan programs. And so the way it works with when you go to buy a house, you want to find an agent or a broker that's affiliated with a lender in that they should be communicating on a daily, almost weekly, well, weekly for sure, but maybe in the case when you're working together, daily basis. And it goes like this is how the recipe goes. You get pre-qualified, and we'll use Nate's name here, but so you get pre-qualified with Nate, and then one of those 700 loan programs, and it could be something real niche, something just kind of off market stuff. Then he's going to report to me, okay, Jeff, when you're home shopping, this is what this needs to look like. And then I have shared with him my interview that I've had with the clients. So he's aware of their wants, needs, and desires. He's already had a conversation with them. So when you're going to shop for a home, find somebody that's got a good lender associated with them and that where they work in tandem together and speak to their relationship so that when it comes time to help protect you and do the best job for you, that lender agent relationship is so critical, and it can save you literally thousands of dollars and a lot of hardship and ache Like Nate and I, we finish each other's sentences at this point in time because we're constantly, I know what he's going to probably report back to me. I know the style of communication that he does and gives, and then vice versa. And so we're heavily embedded in each other's businesses, and that's on purpose to create this pathway for everybody else. Because truth is, I do this day in and day out. When people go to buy a house, they're probably a professional in some other arena, and they don't know what they don't know is the scariest part, right? And so a lot of times they lean into Google, or even these days to chat, Perplexity, Grok, whatever, some AI platform. Give me the answers to XYZ, right? Which is fine. My mother-in-law the other day asked um, AI for some help on a matter that she was having trouble with. AI lied to her. And so when she asked AI to fact check the information that it spit back out, AI is like, oh, you know what? I made that up because I didn't know the actual answer. I apologize. Thank you for holding me accountable. And I was like, what? So even in this day and age with AI, don't believe everything that's necessarily in there. Yes, it's a good tool, it's a good help, but don't, it's not gospel. Your best bet is get in touch with a real estate agent, somebody that you trust. I would interview 3 to 5 people on real estate agent stuff. If you don't know 3 to 5, that's fine. Um, Ask around. And you can Google search it, but I would probably shy away from that and lean more into other people's real world examples and experiences, because that's going to carry more weight than a Google or a what does chat give me. So interview, and make sure they match the communication style that you're interested in doing. And then you want to be heard, and then educate yourself. And certain people have different education levels that they want to be at. If I'm helping a real estate attorney, for example, buy a house, we're looking at every I and every T and make sure that they're dotted and crossed, right? He's reading everything, or she's reading everything. If I'm working with a baker, they may go, you know what? I'm not interested in all this. Just tell me the gist, right? And I've worked on both sides of that, where sometimes they want all the details, everything to the nitty gritty, and other times they don't. And you want to be careful to match that style. So when you're interviewing somebody, make sure they're matching the style that you're going to relate with, and that's going to be just epic for you. So that'll help create and eliminate a lot of fear. And then I would also, when you're interviewing the agents, ask them about their experience. It's public knowledge. You can look it up. You can see how many deals they've done in the last 12 months, 24 months, and just get a good feel for that. And just because somebody's only done 1 or 2 deals, don't let that scare you. Oftentimes, those agents are hyper focused, and they'll do an even better job than somebody that's used to slinging deals left, right, and center, and then they maybe skip some steps, or just get kind of casual with some of the contracts and some of the language and stuff. But so some quick hot takes for you.
I love it. And especially the communication. Communication is huge for me. So if I
Yes.
were working with Realtor, especially with that much money, that much stress and pressure, and I didn't feel like there was the communication, and I like how you said someone who matches that communication style. Oh man, that would be stressing me out so much. So I really love that one. There were some other great ones that you dropped there as well. Again, this is why I've sent my own kiddos to Jeff and Nate. And man, talk about Nate. Like we could do a whole episode just the two
Oh
of us
gosh.
talking about that man,
Oh
his
yeah.
integrity, his like go get it, like he just gets it done, right? So we'll have Nate on here as well to be able to do that. But I like that partnership that you talked about as well. That's really, really helpful. So Nate, in just a moment, I'm gonna, or excuse me, Jeff, we're
Yeah,
already
yeah.
talking about it.
That's okay,
Jeff, in
Steve.
just a second, I'm going to come back to you for a final word, just in case there's anything that my questions didn't bring up that would be really important, or just another thought that come up. But I want to let people know how they can get in contact with you, because I want people to just start reaching out, asking their questions, coming to your class, sending their kids to your class, so they can be educated and actually buy something regardless of the market, somebody is always making money in the market, right? And one of the
Yes.
ways that they can do it is to start paying themselves in the equity and start building that rather than paying it towards rent. And ooh, we talked about how tough that is for my kiddos right now. So I would love for them to start pivoting that way. So my friends, it is J&M Realty Group, and right behind me over here, I'm going to pivot the camera. We've got Jeff the Man Johnston over here. And the best way to reach him is text or call his phone number. It's going to be 801-381-4207. So it's 801-381-4207. Give him a call, send him a text, find out when that next opportunity is to be with him and Nate to learn. Send your kids there. Just have the conversation. One of the things I can let you know is Jeff is great with the conversation. He'll be able to help inform you and educate you and at least prep you for the experience. Even if you're not ready to go, you can, again, come to know, like, and trust Jeff through that process and see, really, like he was saying with Nate, there seems to be an option for everybody, even the $7 option, which you have to give him a call and ask him about that one. All right, Jeff, as we roll out, any final thoughts?
I think the thing I can leave with you the best is don't believe the hype that it's a bad market. I'm a conversation and I'm free to talk to. And that's part of the know, like, trust. Get to know me a little better. And then if you like me, that trust will grow, right? So feel free to reach out, have that conversation. Again, don't lean into now's a bad time to buy in the market. That's not true. Okay. What I don't want is people continually to chase the market. When I say that, don't don't constantly be saving your money because, oh, next year I'll have enough money, or next year I'll have enough money, and oh, one more year I'll have enough money, right? Just get in the market. I don't care what it is, condo, townhome, single family home. You want to find yourself in the market rather than chasing the market, because as soon as you can get in the market, all of a sudden you're making 4 to 5 to 8 to 10% a year on the equity of the house. And then you're no longer chasing the market, you're in the market. So you buy something little, you sell it, take the equity, buy something a little bigger, sell it, take the equity, buy something a little bigger. And then that's chasing the American dream right there.
And then they'll have that nice pool like you've got, Jeff.
Yeah,
So
that's
good.
right. You're on your way. You're on your way.
We're on our way. This is so good. Jeff, words of wisdom to round out today, everybody. All right, my friends, give Jeff a call, send him a text, send your kiddos. Let's get them into a home and get them invested in the market so they're not chasing the market. And we will catch you next time, my friends, on our Know, Like, and Trust series.